Well, welcome back, ladies, to another Lady Game Conversations, where we talk about femininity, we talk about self-worth, and the power in making the right choices. So let's get to it, shall we? So today I want to talk about the power of saying no. Have you ever said yes to something that you wanted to say no to? I can tell you that I did this all the time. And when you don't say no, you're not setting a healthy boundary, depending on what it is, right? So today in this video, I want to talk about why it is so important to say no and how it builds your confidence. Two, I want to talk about how to say no in a soft way, but confident way to where you don't hurt anyone's feelings, not intentionally at least. And three, I want to discuss how we overcome that guilt and that fear of letting someone down when we have to say no. So like, subscribe, and share. Let's get into it. So the power of saying no. So in my book, Lady Game, I actually reference this because I feel it is so empowered. Forgive me. I feel it is so important. I feel like it is so important to say no and to know your why in your saying no, right? And to accept it, feel confident in saying no, really start to feel that because it is so important. It is the beginning of starting to set healthy boundaries. Now, in my book, I discuss why no was so hard for me and had been so hard for me as an adult and where it started at its infancy. And of course, it started with my mama. So I'm going to read a little excerpt from my book because I feel like this story is hilarious. So literally, my mom decided to put me in all kinds of extracurricular activities. And she just so happened to put me in, I'll just read it to you. Shall I? Okay. So saying no it just might not seem easy for some, but for me, it wasn't always that simple. Growing up, I was a yes child, driven by a deep desire to be accepted, seen, and valued. I rarely said no to my parents. When my mother suggested I take Irish dancing classes, you heard right, Irish dancing classes. Okay. I just did it. I did it. Yep, I did it. So I want you to picture this, okay? A young black girl surrounded by a sea of beauties, white girls, but just a sea of them, all dancing our hearts out. I was always nervous about what new activity mom would sign me up for. But I was her yes girl, bold and brave on the outside, terrified on the inside. I feared that saying no to her would disappoint her and bring her sadness. And the thought of causing her pain, it was something I couldn't bear. Unfortunately, my father had already put her through enough, and I didn't want to add to that burden. So this is where it all started for me, not being able to say no to the one person in my life who I looked up to, who fed me, who bred me, all of it. Like I could not say no to this woman. I was not about to add to her sadness. There's just no way in hell. And that's not all. See, when things happen to you by your parents, unfortunately, it spills over into your personal relationships. And around 8 or 9, another story, I was hanging out with some kids in Santa Monica at a summer camp. And at the time, we weren't allowed to leave. Well, ever, not at the time, ever. We weren't ever allowed to leave the campgrounds. But of course, I did. Naturally, I did, because I was seeking validation and inclusion with these little brats, right? And so we went to the mall. And it was fun. It was exciting. And my so-called friends were browsing some fake jewelry. I told them I didn't have any money. My mother was not about to send me the money with wads of 20s. Like that wasn't happening. I had a lunch, paper bag lunch. But they had other plans. It didn't require money, okay? And that was the first time ever and last time ever that I shoplifted. Not proud of it, but it happened, right? So when we were finished doing illegal activities, I rushed back to summer camp, and guilt, it washed all over me. I knew what I had done was wrong, and I felt a deep desire to confess and face the consequences. And the shame I felt was so overwhelming. I can honestly, guys, I remember this like it was yesterday. When we returned, we headed straight for the restroom where our camp leader was waiting for us. And somehow he had already found out about our little excursion, our adventure, and the stolen jewelry. The verbal reprimand we received was humiliating, but absolutely deserved. So there you have it. When you don't say no at this ripe age of 8, 9, or really ever, it spills into other areas of your life. I knew darn well that I shouldn't take anything from a store, especially if my parents would have found out. I told my mom later, like years later in adulthood, that I did this, and she's just like, I can't believe that. What? You weren't being watched? No one? Like, it was just a thing, okay? It was a whole thing. And I felt so good being honest about that. But if I would have just said no, I wouldn't even have this guilt. For years, I have hung on to this. So I'm telling you, it is so important, because as I got older as an adult, it started to affect me in a negative way. Guys that I didn't want to date, I'm saying yes to, because I'm feeling like, oh God, like what if they get mad? Oh gosh, I haven't had a date in a week. Like, who cares? Just say yes. Even though I didn't like this guy, wasn't my cup of tea, wasn't attractive. Like, why am I going out with you? Friends who I knew were trouble growing up. Like, why am I hanging out with you? Like, I don't like you. I don't want to be around you. Like, my parents wouldn't be cool with me hanging out with you. Like, you're doing grown things that I'm just not okay with doing just yet, right? And even, full into adulthood, I'm hanging out and I'm drinking and doing all kinds of other activities that I didn't feel like I should be doing, or I'm drinking too much. Take another shot. No, I'm good. No, I'm okay. Thank you though. But I said yes instead of saying no. And this is where you can get into a lot of trouble, okay? That peer pressure is a thing. It is real. And you've got to set healthy boundaries and say no. It's very important because it's going to build up your self-confidence, one. If you say no, you're telling someone, I'm taking care of myself. I'm saying no because I'm protecting my energy. And it is very important to do so. Because if you keep saying yes to things you don't want, first of all, you're not going to be happy, okay? Nobody wants to do what everybody else wants to do all the time. You don't want to just come off as this pushover who, oh, come with me, girl, you'll come. No, you have to say no. You can rest. Rest your body, rest your nervous system, take care of you. Say no. Now, let me tell you how to say no in certain situations, right? Okay. Say you're a loner like me and you enjoy your alone time. Yes, you like social functions, but like me, sometimes my social battery, it's just on E, okay? And I need to gas myself up at home. I need to energize myself. I need to watch some housewives. I need to read a book. I need to watch some YouTube channels on meditation and manifestation. Like, I need to build myself back up again to be able to go outside and have fun, right? But not everybody understands that. And mind you, that explanation isn't necessary to provide everyone, maybe some close people who you do feel vulnerable with, but you don't have to explain yourself. No is no. But you can just say this, hey, thank you so much for the invite. I do appreciate it, but I'm just going to stay in. I'm just not feeling all that great. My social battery is on E, and I just need to, I need to power back up again. So I need to charge. And I'm going to charge at home. So thanks, right? Or if it's a guy and you're just like, why do you keep calling me? Like, just stop calling me, right? Like, I don't want you calling me anymore. Like, I'm never going to go out with you. Pick up the phone and be honest. Hey, no, listen, we're not on the same wavelength. Like, we don't see eye to eye. And I think you're a great person, but just not for me romantically. So thank you so much for being sweet and calling me and checking in on me. But yeah, it's going to be a pass for me. It's going to be a no. but thank you. Thank you so much. See how that is? You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be mean. There are so many women who are just rude just because you can. And it's like, why? Why? And here's the thing, do you want that same energy thrown right back at you? I know I don't. So I do my part in trying to be as positive and as sweet and as caring and as gentle as I can when I'm saying no, because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Now, mind you, if I'm doing all that and it still hurts your feelings, that's on you, boo. Okay, you're very sensitive and I'm very assertive. But I do my best to be as calm as I can when saying no and letting people down. When I was single, I'd have to do it all the time. All the time. Someone's hitting me up in a Target when I am focused on getting that toilet paper and my makeup wipes. Like, why are you bothering me in a Target? But that's okay. It's okay. It took guts. It takes bravery, guys. Like, these guys, they're trying to build their confidence too. So yeah, they might hit you up at a Target, and it's your responsibility to be kind and nice in your response. Okay, because you want that energy just in case you're bold and you want to approach some hot stud, right? So when that happened, oh, hi, honey. Yeah, I'm just really busy. I've got to knock down this list. You know, I've got to pick up my kid in a minute. You know, yeah, no, I'm not there. You know, I'm enjoying being single. Yeah, I'm not accepting any new phone numbers at this time. Thank you so much. Okay, you have a good day, but thanks anyway. I come up with all kinds of snazzy, fun, quirky things to say to people because I'm a goofball, one, but two, I find that laughter keeps things light, right? So those are just a few things that I say when I'm trying to say no. Now let's get into the guilt part. I used to feel so guilty. Like I told you about my mother, I would feel guilty even before the thought of no came. Like, oh God, I don't really want to do this. Like, this is not something that I'm really into. But you have to just get over that. You have to overcome that. And how you overcome it is you have to be consistent in saying no to certain things. And here's how I know to say no. If you're feeling anxious, like if you are genuine, like this is not stepping outside of your comfort zone, right? That's not what I'm talking about. Saying no is when your gut is saying, this isn't for me. I don't like this. I don't feel good right now. Like I am not aligned, right? Like this isn't a part of my manifestation. This isn't even on my Pinterest board. Like, no, I don't like this, right? That's what I'm saying. Of course, I will always say, hey, try new things. Like, don't be scared of doing that. Don't let fear take over your life. But if you're just not vibing, right? Or you're not feeling up to it, right? You know what I mean? Then no, you have to say no and don't feel guilty about it. But like I said before, that takes consistency. Once you've said no a few times to certain people, you'll feel better because then you'll start to see who is for you and who isn't for you, right? If your friend gets an attitude the first time you said no, well, okay, well, thank you. Now I know who you are. Okay. Or that guy that, you know, you said yes to 1,000,000 times. You're like, okay, I really don't want to go out tonight. Like, I'm good. And he wants to act up. That's a cutoff. You can talk and maybe explain yourself, but to me, that's a cutoff. If I say yes to you a bunch of times, but the first time I said no, doesn't sound like a Beyonce song. The first time I said no, you want to buck up and get upset? Like, okay, no. You have the right to set healthy boundaries and you have the power to say no. So I want to know how you feel about this. Like, leave me a note in the comments. Tell me how you flow with no. You know, like, first of all, are you comfortable with saying no? Have you run into some situations where you've had to say no and, you know, you've actually probably said yes, or you have said no and then someone's upset or had an attitude, or you've had some issues, you know, of how to say no or felt that guilty feeling? Like, please, I'd love to hear like what your story is. I've shared mine and I plan on sharing many more. Okay, so share, like, and subscribe. Until the next video, ciao beauties.